Hi, everybody. It's time again for the MikeyNAl Between the Legs podcast.
I don't think that's the name.
It's close.
What's your name?
On the table with Mike and Al.
There we go.
All right. Hi, everybody. It's time again for the MikeyNAl Between the Lines. Wait, no. Hi, everybody. It's time again for Between the Lines with Mikey and Al. I'm Mikey.
And I'm Al.
And I'm Nick.
Good to have you guys here today. First and foremost, just want to say, everybody, I hope everybody's having, we just passed Memorial Day. We're into the summertime, Mike.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so a little,
Feeling good.
Winter's over. We got a little, beach, barbecue, that kind of an action, whatnot. So it's hopefully we're going to all have a good summer. Everybody out there as well. I was reading some of the comments, and, a few people asked if you're still in contact with some of the cast, what they're doing now. I don't know if you have any, can you give us an overview of how that, are you still
I had a major
actively
falling out with everybody at a Christmas party this past Christmas. I got really, really drunk and abusive. And I said everything that was on my mind, like Vinnie, Cody, Rick especially, and my father and my brother. I said some things I didn't. If you guys are listening, I'm really sorry. No.
Okay.
Now I get along great with all these guys. Yeah.
I think that's great.
Yeah. I'm still in contact with them.
All right, because people were talking specifics in terms of what's what's Cody doing, what's Vinny doing, what's Chris doing, what's Rick doing. I mean, obviously, Evan. We've talked about Evan and whatnot, but are you closer to Son than the others, or is it more just like everybody's still always cohesive, but you reach out to each other once in a while, or how does that work?
I keep about as much in contact with one person as another.
Mm-hmm.
Rick being in Pennsylvania, I don't see him very often.
Gotcha.
But I recently, Rick Petco, he was a popular character on our television show, American Chopper.
Long time, right?
Long time, for the bulk
years.
majority of the series.
Yeah.
And he lives in Pennsylvania now. Great fabricator, great guy, love him.
He always seemed very even keel, like low keel, just always on his shit, but on top of his shit, and
he was
just sort of like that guy who you could always.
And he doesn't age.
He doesn't age. Right?
Doesn't age. Doesn't wear sleeves. Doesn't age.
Right.
What do you mean, doesn't wear sleeves?
He's not a sleeve guy.
Like you're not a pants guy?
Yeah, he's not wearing sleeves.
If anybody didn't
But
know.
He's still. Recently I saw him. I actually went and dropped a bike off to him. For my father, with him, because my dad's kind of going blind and deaf, so he needed someone to drive the bike out to Rick in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And it was really great to see Rick. Didn't look like he aged at all. Big hugs all around the board.
I think from what I read, I think he was doing something with Harley Davidson out there. Or he's doing, he's working there as some kind of, I'm sure, he's got some notoriety because of the show.
Absolutely.
But
and his skill. He's quite a skilled fabricator.
I saw that also he has on sort of a side business, really, really intricate. He makes these knives that he sells out there. And I looked at some of the knives. I mean, it was just, the intricate detail is just off the chart. So I think that's awesome. What about some of the other guys? Anybody like Chris or
Christian? I don't see very much, but I got nothing but love for him.
Gotcha.
He was the mechanic at the shop, Christian Welter.
Yep.
Who else? Vinny. Vinny, I see here and there.
Yeah.
Not enough. He's very busy. He's got his own mechanic shop.
Right.
Demartino Motorsports.
I do know of it. Yeah.
Give him a little plug.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's so busy that when I even bring my car there to get work done, I just it's impossible.
You're
to
like
talk
in the
to
back
him.
of the line.
There's 2 kids he's given instructions to. There's another mechanic who's really skilled who he's trying to keep up with.
Yeah.
He's really, really busy.
Well, that's good.
I'm happy for him.
And he went pretty much from bikes to the cars now, right? He's not doing a lot with bikes, or is he still doing both?
Pretty much done with bikes.
Yeah.
I think he will work on bikes, but he'd rather not.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. What about,
and he's a sweetheart.
Yeah.
He gets a kiss on the lips.
What about Cody?
Whether or not he wants it.
I want one.
What about Cody or any of those guys?
Oh, Cody gets tongue.
Yeah.
No, Cody got a very steady job working for, I believe, Central Hudson.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So he's doing really good, man. He's like a good guy. He's got a young daughter.
Okay.
Who's a couple years old, and I think she's the apple of his eye.
Hmm.
And he really wound up doing very well for himself. I'm pretty happy
awesome.
for him.
I think that's awesome.
He gets nothing but love too.
Well, some of the viewers, they just want to, they want to get an insight as to what some of the, what are the older casts doing, and from your perspective. And
I'm the only tragic story.
Yeah, I was wondering, how's Michael doing?
Stop. You know what's interesting when
Sisyphus.
When the show was on, you were always that guy, and everybody knows you sort of as that. You're the lovable guy who was always. It seemed like trying to get. When there was ever conflict, you were sort of like the middle guy trying to sort of patch, get everybody to sort of get on the same page. Now, that had to be difficult, I'm assuming.
It was.
Right.
That was my role in the family. Grew up in a family of 6, so that was sort of not exclusively my role, but I felt like, everybody's always going crazy, if you're not an aggressive person in a very aggressive family or with family members that are very aggressive, you got to be kind of the peacemaker, I guess.
Now,
then that carried over to the show between my father and brother.
Right.
And then eventually I just had it.
You're like,
no.
You're like, kill each other. I don't give a shit.
Yep.
Right. No, but at the same time, what made you take it? Because you could have been the same kind of, you could have been as difficult as everybody else and played that role too. But what in your thought process, you were like, you know what? I'm going to try to be that guy who is going to, try to mend this. I'm going to try to be that middle guy. And I'm assuming, and maybe I'm wrong here, but did they come? Were you always that guy that maybe the old man came to and was like, you were the middleman trying to parlay the relationship or trying to, make sure everything was on par with each other? Or did you feel like you were just like?
I wanted to facilitate,
right.
much like a therapist or something like that. But I was more like a battering ram. Or a hostage,
right.
Or a messenger that got shot constantly.
Yeah.
Which I didn't mind for a while, but after a while, if you're not having any effect, you know how that goes.
I do.
It's like I might as well just save myself any effort. These guys got to work it out.
I tell you though, the viewership, I think everybody looks at you as that guy who is just you're not only the comic, you were sort of like the upbeat person in drama sometimes. You know what I mean? That you always help to move that needle.
It's the goofball, forward. Comic relief.
Yeah, but
the levity.
Levity is not easy to do though.
No,
you can be an asshole a lot easier than you can try.
Very easy to be a fucking asshole.
It's very easy to be an asshole.
I can attest.
Yeah, it's just easy. But it's very hard to be. Yeah,
I have a question.
It's hard to be kind.
When everybody's coming at you that way, it's absolutely hard to be kind.
Yeah, in short. Yeah, it's just in general, I think in the world, it's hard to be kind. Like make a conscious effort towards being a kind person.
True.
It takes more effort than being a piece of shit.
Yep.
Which is fucking easy. I don't even notice, man. There's so many pieces of shit out there skating by. There's like good people who are fucking barely getting by, but they're good people,
Yep. And you have pieces of shit out there who, I don't know, somehow maneuver themselves up in the world chain as far as from a monetary standpoint. You have a lot of good people out there who are fucking on their ass. And you're absolutely right. It's so much more difficult to be kind, nice in today's world, and to make it than being a piece of shit seems like that. It's more
of a rarity.
It's a rarity.
It used to be
rarity.
It used to be expected. Now it's kind of like you're expected to fuck the other guy. Pardon my French, but
I have a question about the comic relief thing. Do you think that formed naturally, or do you think they really pushed that on the show? And I mean, you and I both know, and Al knows what happens. They film hours and hours and hours, and what happens is you get the worst / best moments on the final edit. They produce it live too sometimes. Do you think that you were pushed into that comic relief?
I think I was held into it, but I'm not pushed. Yeah, I remember the producer of the original show. His motto was, "If you ask to be on camera, you're not getting on."
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of naturally wandered into it.
Okay.
You know, so
That's interesting. So you said if he
Yeah.
has to be on camera, you're not getting on.
don't get on. Yeah.
So you never okay. So in terms of editing and all that, you probably were you able to?
that was C. Russell Muth. He's
Yeah,
listening. Hi, Russ.
nice guy or no?
Great guy.
All
He owes me money.
Love him.
Um,
He owes. I owe him money.
so when it came to editing of the show, was that some as a surprise when you saw the final? I mean, when the episode was released, or was there some kind of final cut that you got to see?
Oh, no final cut. No, you get what the
You got what they
what Discovery put
now
out.
were sometimes when they did. I mean, when you saw the show when it came out, were you like, "Holy shit!" I was like, "What?" Or were you like, "This is what I was expecting," or were there some cuts that you saw that you never thought would make the show, but did make the show, or vice versa?
I
You
didn't
know
watch
what I mean?
the show much.
You didn't.
No,
Okay.
no, but I do. I would gauge that kind of stuff on the show would air usually Monday night,
Gotcha.
right? So then you see everybody on Monday at work.
Mhm.
Everything's normal. Tuesday morning, it's very different.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, someone's got to bug up their ass because they didn't get enough attention. You know, there wasn't enough on the fabrication. Why am I not on the show? You know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah, and at times my father would be like, you know, they really made me look bad. And then in the morning, fucking kick the whole crew out of the shop.
Really?
Yeah,
You
like
just
flip
pissed.
out on them, you know?
Wow. Yeah.
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 Which is
Well, you
kinda-
know what? I mean, when you think about it, you are putting your entire lives out there for everybody to see. That's not an easy thing to do.
No.
When you're just
And
you're
the
just-
tendency, like if you do look sort of, or you find yourself to look negative on
Uh-huh.
the say on the show the night before,
right,
you know, you got these film crew members that are kind of like a choice target.
right.
They're
right.
innocent. They're
Gotcha.
just doing their fucking job.
Oh, so when you come back and they're like, okay, why didn't you do this? And you're like, it's not my fucking job. I'm just filming hours. And then they're sort of like the punching bag because they're right there.
Yep.
Oh, gotcha.
They get steamrolled a lot.
Gotcha.
Oh, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, if anything,
Yeah.
I give the crew a little more credit than the cast.
Yeah, I could see that.
Overall, through the years,
I
yeah,
could see that.
because they really do. They get treated like shit. They're not. They're non-union.
Yeah.
Their bosses don't care about them. You know, they you know, if they keep a job long enough, then they stay out of circulation.
Mhm.
So word of mouth ends, and then they don't get a job because they don't have any reps or anything like that.
Oh,
I
So
didn't
they
know that.
wow.
they want to stay on a job long enough, you know,
Uh-huh.
but also keep a foot.
Oh, I didn't think that.
Yeah, so they run out of work all the fucking time.
So they would.
Man, I'm swearing a lot today.
That's
okay.
fine.
I do feel bad for those guys, though.
So they would specifically leave or hope that the production wasn't going to last too long.
No, I think they got to gauge it because you got to get it while you can.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
they stay 2 or 3 seasons, but once they stop losing, you know, offers from the people that they get offers from,
Yeah.
they got to go do a week here or there, or just like, you know, totally get off the show altogether.
Yeah, but you know what? You have, I mean, take Andy, for instance. Andy and Mark. I mean, you become friends with a lot of these guys who.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was friends with Andy beforehand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Andy's great. Love him to
Great.
death.
Well,
But
this
Mark's
guy.
great too. Don't get me wrong. But
these are the director, not director of photography. What is it in
DP.
DP?
yeah.
DP.
Yeah, these were the DPs and the DP and the
Sound engineer.
sound engineer.
So when you're filming, let's say you're in the area and you're filming at OCC, is there off points? Like, is there points or areas where it's off limits, or is there things where you can be like, you know what, guys? Yeah, because you always got some behind you. You got the, you know, you're mic'd up.
Yeah.
So have you ever been mic'd up and fucked up? You know what I mean? Like, you're like, oh my God, I didn't realize I was mic'd and
Oh yeah.
I'm talking about shit
As
or
a matter
whatever.
of fact, I used to go visit the editors, you know, because nobody appreciates editors.
Right.
They get treated like shit.
How?
They're in a closet.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like professional editors.
Know
are
how they
just-
would let you go?
Yeah, I would go out to California to visit them,
Oh.
you know?
Oh, is
That's
that where they
cool.
were at?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So you're on the 405 or whatever, you know, it's all fun. You know,
Okay.
all that LA stuff, you know.
So what happened? Go
and I
ahead.
go and visit the editors, and they would put together, just to amuse themselves, little highlight reels of this and that.
Okay.
And they had, like, you know, embarrassing moments of, you know, like my old man taking a dump with really, really bad gas, you know, still
Yeah.
wearing his microphone.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and then he's like, you hear him zipping up and washing his hands, and he comes back in the office and he's like, what the fuck is going on? Someone just blew up the bathroom. Who the fuck took a shit in there?
So he made it and didn't claim it, right?
Yeah, they caught him framing the rest
That's
of the
great.
yeah.
That's good stuff.
That's funny.
That's interesting.
Just little things like that, or these little love-a-dove things between my brother and Vinny. They had a nice little highlight reel, like Vinny and Paul. You know, because they really did love each other.
Those two seem like very, very close. I mean, they you know. Yeah.
My brother, I get along with very well. You know, he moved to New Jersey. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's a barren wasteland.
It's a barren wasteland
It's a
state.
battery dump.
It does have
But
some
he
nice
seems
beaches.
to like it.
The upstate's nice.
Yeah.
No, he's in
High taxes.
He's in not Cape May, is it?
Is it Cape May?
No,
Cape Fear.
Long Beach. I don't know what
Long
the
Beach
Cape is.
Island.
Long Beach Island.
He's in Long
Beautiful
Beach
area.
Island now,
Yeah.
so the geographical distance is kind of put a little distance. But
Oh my
we
lord.
try to keep in touch.
Do you?
Yeah,
Well, I mean,
call in here and there.
He is. I know he opened up a shop down there, so he just sort of. I mean, slowly is transitioning down there. I think is that the big move for him. He's not. Good. Is he still keeping the shop up here, or?
He's got a half of the shop up here, and he's subbing out the other half to a martial arts studio that Nick attends.
So you think eventually it'll be more of a full transition time frame for him?
Yeah, his son's enrolled in school in Jersey.
Oh, well,
They
that's
live
the
there.
big thing. Yeah. If your son is going to that school, that typically makes.
That's where you're at.
Yeah, that's where you're at.
We'll miss him,
Yeah.
but he's a Jerseyan.
Gone, but not forgotten.
Well,
Yes, they still speak about him today.
so the whole dynamic with the family, though, everybody in communication, everybody good?
Great. The old man's good too. I went to go visit the old man. I had a good time with him on his farm. He's got some rescue pigs and all that shit. But for the most part, he's good.
Good.
Yeah, I'm actually supposed to do some breakfast with him on Tuesday.
This Tuesday.
Fun. Yeah.
Where are you going?
And he said he likes the show. I don't know what the fuck's wrong with him. But he wanted to be on.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Well, let's bring him on. I'd love to.
Yeah.
That's your call.
Yeah, he could be the first guest, right?
That's your call.
In honor of the late Jerry Springer. Behind door number 1, we've got Paul Tuttle Sr. Come on out,
You
Paul.
are the father. Oh.
No, but I think that'd be awesome because you know what? Quite frankly, he is, he's one of a few people in the industry who is just he's gigantic. You know, I mean,
He is.
he
I was
really,
telling him to come
really-
on and tell us his drunken stories.
You think you do it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he's going to give us all of his drunken mayhem stories.
You know, I think that's awesome.
So
I mean,
kind of fun.
your old man was always, I mean, I travel with him and you and whatnot, and he's always, I mean, amazed me
Difficult.
when he's not
Always
difficult. He's
difficult.
not difficult. He's set in his ways.
He is.
He's set in his ways.
No, I understand.
He loves his eggs in the
He
morning.
started late with the whole entertainment, too.
Yeah.
Man. He was like 58. Maybe
Was he 58?
58, 59, I
Yeah.
think, when all this started. 56, I don't know.
He's set in his ways, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
You could tell your dad doesn't take any bullshit, though, either. He just, it's
I
either his way
appreciate
or the highway, and you either like it or you don't.
Yeah.
And that's just how it's set.
Yeah, that's how it's laid out.
You know, it was cool that he actually went. Remember when they had that Trump? He was on the Trump. What was that show? The Trump
The Celebrity Apprentice.
Celebrity Apprentice. Yeah, thanks, Nick. He did good on that. I think he went to number 2 or something like that.
Wow.
We did.
I thought he was out first round.
No, I think he went to number 2
Really?
on that. Yeah,
Beat
and I
out.
can't remember who was in it, but I wish I could. I should have. Before I even brought that up, I should have researched it. But he was on par with that.
I should watch it, man. I wasn't talking to him at the time, so
Yeah. Well,
he was doing better in his career than me, so I thought, fuck him.
Do you want to know?
sure.
The Celebrity Apprentice, the candidates were Arsenio Hall, Clay Aiken, Aubrey O'Day, Lisa Lampanelli, Teresa Giudice, Giudice. Sorry, Teresa. Diana Mendoza, Penn Jillette. Wow. Penn and
Jillette.
Taylor Penn.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
fun. The magician. Paul
Okay.
Tuttle Sr., I don't know who that is. Oh, the Hulk, Lou Ferrigno.
Hell yeah. the
Dee
best.
Snyder, Debbie Gibson, and then a bunch more.
I didn't
George
realize there
Takei
was that many contestants on that thing. But where did he finish up?
and Cheryl Teagues.
I want to say he finished up number 2.
Paul Tuttle Sr., unanimous was the name of the team. He was fired in task 10.
that's down the road.
Yeah.
So
It is,
my point is, he made it down the road.
Top
And
5 or something. right?
Arsenio Hall ended up being the Celebrity Apprentice that year.
Yeah.
Clay Aiken went up against Arsenio. It's right up there, but it's not the last. It's 4 down from the last week, I believe.
Interesting. Well, you know what? It's really. That's a really cool compliment. Did he? He actually said he watched your show, and he was okay with it. He was digging it.
Yeah, I think he just wants a kid to take care of him in his old age.
Well, that could be it too, and that's going to be you, by the way.
Yeah.
It probably will be with you.
Probably.
But quite frankly,
No, he did. Yeah, he was. I was surprised
if
because I was thinking that day too. I'm like, man, I haven't heard from him in a while. I wonder if he's just moved on.
no, you know what it is.
He's like, hey,
I
how
gotta
you
say,
doing?
for his age, and I think he's 74.
Yep,
He is unbelievably in fit shape.
great shape.
I think
Great shape.
Joan,
His wife?
his
wife, Joni.
Joan always keeps him going in terms of, and Joan is a vegan. I think he quit eating meat, right? Your pops quit eating meat.
Dropped his cholesterol.
Dropped
Wow.
his cholesterol. He just is always, every time I see any kind of posting, he's kicking ass at 74. You see some people who are 74 and like just, they're already like,
They're
fucking,
shot.
yeah, they're they're on like rolls. So what do you call them? The
Stretchers,
walking chairs
rollers.
and all that
Yeah,
other shit.
walkers.
Not your pops, man. He's fucking. He's smoking.
He's rocking.
He's
Yeah.
rocking. God bless him.
Yeah,
God bless him. So I mean, it's just it's a testament to what he's been able to achieve, and God bless him.
and
The
staying active in an older age.
Staying active at an
It's a
older
big
age.
thing. I think otherwise you just kind of, and then osteoporosis sets in.
Yeah, no
You're
doubt,
done.
no doubt.
Is that the arthritis or what is that? Is that a back thing?
It's osteoporosis.
I don't know. It's got something
It's,
to do with bone because that's the osteo.
Yeah, it's
in
a
that,
loss
right?
of calcium in the bone. I think it makes the bones brittle.
I do remember
Yeah,
his
yeah.
eyes, though. He had problems with his eyes.
Got the
With
glaucoma.
the cataracts.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did he get this?
I can remember when we went to Fakamse and we were staying in that. It looked like we were staying in that chalet. It looked like something
Oh, yeah.
from
Swiss Family Robinson.
Oh, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
But he was trying to make coffee, but he didn't put the coffee filter in, so he just put the coffee in the fucking thing. It was just like pouring all over the
Yeah,
place.
hot water.
Yeah,
in the wrong place.
He's like,
Wow.
fuck this thing.
Yeah, he kept making coffee, fucking it up, and it spilled everywhere. He's like scraping it off the counter and drinking it, like snorting coffee off.
He's
the
like,
counter.
fuck, dude.
Yeah, what the fuck is this?
What the fuck is this?
That's how you
shit?
do it.
His eggs are good though.
Hot water.
Remember when we saw that
Eggs.
little
Try this bread.
They had that
So
little.
good.
They had that little. There was that little area at the within that. It wasn't a castle, but it was like a. It was like what is it? Like a chalet. But they had
Chalet,
that.
yeah,
They
sure.
had that little area in the back. It
Yeah,
looked
with
like
the,
a
with
dungeon.
The is it thatchel roof?
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
Thatchel roof and then the shutters.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
it's
could,
just like Oompa Loompa. Doompa,
yeah,
you know,
yep. Or you could put somebody in there and
Lederhosen kind of thing.
you could keep them in there for about a year or two because it was it looked like when we went in there, it had this eerie kind of fucking viability about it. That is very cool though. Let's bring him. At one point, we should bring him on.
What's that? The old man.
I mean, it's up to you, but I think
He
we
was pushing to
continue.
be on as soon as possible.
He was pushing to be on.
It's recording.
Yeah. So,
That is your call.
yeah, I'll
cool
talk
then.
to him. I told him over breakfast Tuesday because he's like, well, when's it on? I said Thursday at 3, and he's like, all right, I'll be there. And I'm like, no, that's when it airs. Huh? I'm like, what?
recording
We're recording, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, Thursday. I said, well, no, it airs then. We record earlier.
Well, if
Oh,
here's the other
it's like
thing.
it's
Yeah.
called.
Here's the other thing. He could totally be via webcam if Joan wanted to set him up with a thing. We could have him as a
Remote?
live guest. too.
No, we want him
he's
here.
up.
He's up.
He's up here for
up
the
here.
next 2 weeks, I think.
I get it. I get what you're saying. I'm just saying as you know, thinking from a production standpoint, this would be a
He's got the whole barber chair right there. He'll be sitting
I
right
think
there
we'd-
doing his thing.
we'd probably just move everything back a little and
Yeah.
put him against the wall.
I'm sure the viewers would love to see your father on the show. I mean, I would too. I mean, he's an icon and love to have him. In terms of how you became, because I know you love film, and I know you watch film, you analyze film, something that you love to do. Was that prior to the OCC thing, or was that something that was always in you? You know what I mean?
I always loved watching films, but I didn't really get into major film enthusiasm until I was probably in my late 30s.
Gotcha.
You know,
All right.
like
So what
the interest in production.
What
What
type?
brought that on? I mean, you could have been anything.
Well, really, I mean, it's always in the back of your mind. You know how everybody hangs around. They're like, you know, what would really make a great movie, or you know, it'd be funny if we did this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get tired of talking like that. So then after a while, I kind of got into it. But I think honestly, the deciding factor was not drinking any longer,
Okay.
because that was putting a real crimp in my motivation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
with
so
you.
when I stopped, I kind of had a little more continuity of focus and initiative, and I actually just kept, I just continuously worked towards something.
I think that's awesome.
Where when I was drinking heavily and I was partying and whatnot,
Yeah, you just sort of
put it
sort
down
of
or get
snowballs.
discouraged or say fuck that, I want to go get wasted,
I got you.
which I don't regret.
You know,
I'm a late in life.
you live and learn.
Yep.
So one of the things that I know you did, which I think is sort of cool, I know you went down to Manhattan and you started to interview, or you started to, talk to these homeless people, and I think that was one of your.
One in particular.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
so.
who I actually wound up making good friends with.
So what did you? I mean, walk us through that. So you're like, fuck it, I'm gonna get on the train.
Get on the train, and at the time, I wanted to take pictures of people's faces. I'm just always interested in people's.
So it was
faces.
only okay. So it just you didn't think about approaching them at that point to try to get a background story, because when I was in Manhattan, I lived in Manhattan for quite a few years. I would always look at some of the homeless people, and I would be like, you know what? Everybody's probably a half inch from that somehow. You know, in terms of life, what occurs in life, and I always would think, what put that person there? And I always thought that would be a good background or a good series or something to that effect of trying to understand what happened to these people to put them in that predicament. And you actually did that. So, what was your thought process when you got off the train in Grand Central? You're like, okay, I'm just going to go talk to these people, or what were you thinking?
Well, I was just trying to photograph interesting faces, but homeless people have the most interesting faces.
True.
I mean, really, if it all depends on how you look at it, but
They tend to tell a story more.
Yeah.
they do.
True.
They do. They're a little more willing to let you get, if you give them $10, $15 to take a photograph of them outright.
So I don't want to call you out, but how did you balance, speaking like this is a Q&A after a movie, how did you balance that fact that it's kind of exploitative to film people at their lowest? I mean, you didn't release this stuff, did you?
On my own YouTube.
On your own YouTube. So it was more a passion project than anything else.
Most certainly.
All right,
yeah.
So I guess I would balance that.
Because I feel bad for the homeless. It wasn't like, oh, let's make fun of the homeless.
No,
Look
no,
at this
no,
goofy
no.
guy eating garbage.
Yeah,
Although we do have
don't
a
think
scene where he's
you-
eating
yeah.
garbage, he's explaining why you eat garbage when you're homeless.
Right.
So it's
That intent was not there.
No,
absolutely not.
No. And this guy was one of the few homeless people I'd met that was sane and not drug addicted.
Okay.
Because usually it's one of the two or both.
Is that Dave?
Mentally ill. Yeah, Dave, my buddy
Yeah.
Dave.
Yeah.
Either they're mentally ill or they're drug addicted or both.
Met him. He's a very intelligent guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Straight laced, Just had some hard luck.
Right.
His parents died, and he just hit every branch. And after a while, you just kind of lose the will. And if you don't have a support system, boom, you're out.
So let me ask you,
You're out on the street.
How did that hook? I mean, how does that connection work? So you were down there taking pictures. He had an interesting face. How does the communication open? Were you just like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
Okay.
I like the guy's face, right? And then paid him $25 to take a photo. Usually I'd tell people about 15 or 10, but I liked his face so much that I paid him 25, And he looked like he didn't have much in his jar.
Gotcha.
In the city, they don't take care of the old male bums. No, it has to say pregnant, and you have to have like a 3-legged kitten with you.
Yeah.
And then you clean up.
Aww.
Isn't it crazy?
But yeah, the bums that they don't care about, you'd be surprised. They just kind of.
And you hear these stories in the city with a lot of the homeless, and some of them have these little babies, and they're they got it's really blatant in terms of what they try to do. And I'm not saying a lot of it is I wonder sometimes, is it, if some of it is staged or some of it is not? Have you ever had that conversation with Dave? Like,
Yeah, most of it is.
Most of it
In
is
one way or
staged.
another. Yeah, like need help, need ride home,
Right.
vet,
Yeah.
pregnant,
Yeah.
drug addicted.
Gotcha.
Sometimes they'll put drug addicted, and that's at least some honesty. So you can maybe a couple bucks.
Right.
And then most of them, because you see the reoccurring themes on the little handwritten tag board. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's kind of, for the most part, a lot of times it's bullshit.
It is bullshit. So you never know what, do you help? Do you not help? You want to help, but then you're like, okay, what do you do?
There's not many ways to help the homeless.
No.
There's shelters and things in order to kind of like, help them along in life and,
Right.
Keep them, somewhat fed and somewhat sheltered. But
Yeah.
for the most part, you're dealing with people who are mainly either, heavily addicted or crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I don't think there's a rehabilitation program, because you got to want help in that regard,
Well, it's crazy because you saw, I
'Cause
mean,
a lot of homeless are crazy.
There
I
is a
tried
lot.
to approach a lot of them, and it's just
they don't want it.
even approachable people. You just wind up having some zany conversation, or you get really depressed.
You could see it. You're absolutely right. And I've been when you go into Grand Central, if anybody out there who knows Manhattan, you go to Grand Central underground in that subway system.
Oh, yeah.
And you walk from Grand Central, to any one of the trains, there's a substantial amount of homeless people also, and you could see it in their eyes, man. And it's tough to see. And so you're like, who do you help? Who don't you help? And it's just a sad thing to see. It really is.
It is.
But it's interesting that you did that. So you went down, you took pictures, you befriended this guy, Dave, and you guys actually had a friendship. You
Oh,
guys
yeah,
built a
long
friendship.
lasting. Yeah, we still have a friendship
I
going.
think that's awesome, man.
Yeah, I think that's really great.
And you said he's doing better. He's up.
He's doing much better.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's on all kinds of government programs, living on the government. He's
what are you
older.
gonna do?
Yeah.
What are
He's
you gonna do?
and he's on disability.
All right.
So he's older. It's not like he's collecting. I'm not saying he's, but he's set. He's taken care of, and he's no longer in the elements.
Now, what's the difference between homeless? I think we talked about that earlier. There's homeless, hobos, and all this other stuff. I think Nick may have touched on that, but is there a?
Well, I had an idea that the homeless and the hobos are one and the same, but Mike was saying that's different. And I was only saying that because the hobos have codes and symbols that they'll carve or place into areas, that will have high traffic. So along railroads and all that, and along highly hitchhiked roads, they'll have these symbols they carve that'll say safe place, not a safe place. The cops come, the cops don't come. And they know the language because they learn the language, and the common folk don't know. For all we know, it's just graffiti on a wall.
Gotcha. So hobos, maybe. I mean, does it seem like hobos are sort of? They're still, these are just guys who are wandering around having a good time, not having a great time. But what I'm saying is,
Sometimes.
you know what I mean.
Sometimes they're having a better time than anyone.
Some of them, I've heard stories of people who definitely have money, and they just basically say, you know what, I'm going to grab a backpack and become just a wandering traveler in this country. And it's interesting if you think about that format. I mean, sometimes you're so confined into your daily life and all the bullshit and drama you're dealing with.
Yeah.
It's mentally it's a good escape to say, you know what, I'm just going to grab a backpack and say, fuck it, I just want to go, But then again, maybe
liberating for
a little liberating, but at the same
freezing.
time, we probably have a little cash in our pocket versus somebody who's just on their ass. So I can understand that.
They're hand to mouth.
Yeah. So what did you do with this guy, Dave? Did you do some short films with him, or what?
Yeah, we did a little documentary on homeless survival, or survival of the homeless. How to survive, sort of, like a Bear Grylls kind of thing.
Gotcha.
In New York City. So he gave me the whole, the cheap way to do this and that. Sometimes you eat out of a garbage. He was saying that in the city, New York City especially, food is never an issue for the homeless.
Wow.
He said one time he was sitting down and someone just put a, like a to-go doggy bag next to him, and it was a full steak and 2 Mai Tais from Trader Vic's.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, so there's never any shortage of food.
I don't
That's a
think-
good thing.
I think
It's
you're
just being exposed to the elements, and then there's a lot of danger at night.
Yeah, I can imagine.
You got to ride the subway. He had his pockets cut. They use really sharp razors.
What do you mean?
Cut your pockets.
To get the stuff out of the pockets?
To try and get, but they scrape slowly.
And people say that I'm paranoid when I'm constantly looking around me left to right when I'm on the subway. And maybe I am, but there's a bunch of stories.
You're better off airing paranoid.
And the subway seems to be the main place that people offend, and people do this because everybody's on the subway, and I just don't feel
You're
safe.
so crowded, you get stuck by somebody with a knife.
Absolutely.
Prison style, and then nobody will ever.
I will tell you, though, on the subway nowadays, I have no problem keeping my back to sort of a wall. You know, you have those columns and whatnot, because people are getting pushed into the fucking. It's just, it's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane. So in that format, I can understand how, the city has just gone a little crazy.
Sure.
And I would never.
This is even before it went crazy, though. He said, he'd been knocked out on a bus, like woken up and then knocked out.
God.
Yeah.
Wait, what do you mean? Somebody woke him up and then hit him in the head?
And punched him in the face.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
That's not even funny, but it's funny.
I'm not laughing at that one.
I'm laughing at that one.
Yeah, I know.
Because why wake you up? What's the point? So they're going to
wake him up and punch him in the face. Just punch him in the face.
Just punch him in the face.
They were checking to see if he was awake.
Oh, my God. Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's Manhattan for
you. Yeah, he got kicked in the face in a park in Chicago.
Oh, God.
Yeah, then the security didn't even care about him.
So what did he take? Buses? Hitchhike?
Hitchhike.
You know what I liked about
and then
Dave,
bus
though?
here and there. Buses can be pretty cheap.
I'd never pick somebody up on the road.
You know what I liked about Dave, though? He had those. He dressed almost in a suit.
Yep.
Every time.
He had a suit, but he was homeless, and he had those glasses that were made from. I think you could burn a hole through.
They were like those steampunk goggles.
Oh my God! You could burn a hole through the fucking equator with those.
He
things.
bought those because they were actually what do you call it?
I wish we had a picture of them. We could have put it up.
Racquetball glasses.
Oh,
that he also beefed up with like a nose support thing because he kept getting punched in the face.
Oh,
really?
Wow.
Yeah, so so he had to keep gluing them together, but it would
Now I'm
it
sorry
would keep
I
his
laughed.
nose from getting cut.
Fucked
You had him
Yeah,
taped.
you're a fuck.
No, that's bad.
But it's in the
now.
past, and Dave's
I
sitting
know.
pretty.
Well, I'm glad.
Yeah,
I'm
he's
very
sitting
happy
pretty.
for him.
Yeah.
You know, everything is crazy in this world, even dating in this world nowadays. Now, we are, what are we? We're 4 or 5 years apart.
Yeah.
You're in
But
your
I'd say we're in similar boats.
So how's that going for you?
Dating?
Any dating?
Non-existent.
Non-existent.
Yeah.
Are you searching?
No,
It's
I've taken a
because-
little time off.
It's crazy out there.
It's not that I'm tired of failing. I'm tired of failing other people.
I get that.
Jesus.
I get
Same.
You know?
that. I get
No,
that.
I get it.
It all starts out fun and games, and then,
No,
it gets
it's-
serious, and then you're like, you don't want to be with me.
It
Elaborate
on that. When you say
I'm not that guy.
No, but
yeah, but
You get a little fun and games going at first, and everything, and then about I don't know, what is it, like a month and a half into dating, start getting lobbied for a little extra.
you do, right?
Sure, commitments, promises, changes.
Yeah.
Oh, this really isn't good. Do you really want to hang out with your friend? It's like, yeah.
Yes, I
I want to hang out with my friends.
I've been doing it
whenever
for
I
quite
want.
some time. Yes.
Yeah.
Before you came along.
And that's the problem of getting older and being single is you get used to it.
You do.
You
Get
know,
used to
You
it.
get accustomed.
there's
But
comfort.
then you get a little again, we have two different stories. I'm divorced, love my kids to death, and you are single.
Yep.
And we both, in my case, even trying to date somebody nowadays, everybody's got war stories. Everybody is wounded. Everybody
big
is
time.
It's tough to find somebody who has any kind of they're just in a positive state of mind, can we say? You know what I mean? There's always
The last girl I
There's
dated,
always
when I
an
met her,
advantage.
I lied to her
about
well, she asked me a question. She said, just two things, and I'll go out on a date with you. She said, are you
HIV negative.
are you an alcoholic or are you broke? I lied about both.
Oh my God.
Lied about both.
So she go out with you though?
Yeah.
All right then.
Yeah.
All right.
You know, and I wasn't drinking, so it's like, okay. But I think
Okay.
she was married to a drunk for a little while.
Oh, was
The
that what
guy was
happened?
really abusive or something.
Yeah.
But
Well-
I did lie about the broke thing.
Well, I mean,
But money shouldn't play into whether or not you're attracted to somebody.
it does. It
that's-
does.
It does. I know. But
I don't know why it does, but in today's, everybody that I've typically met, and it is what it is, and
Yeah.
maybe it's just because of my bad luck, is they always want to know from a financial standpoint where you're sitting.
Yeah.
And maybe it's the kind of people or the kind of girls I may run into. I'm not really sure. I'm sure there's so many girls out there who are fucking saying right now, well, you're meeting the wrong person, because there's so many girls who are financially capable out there.
Yeah.
But I'm just not running into them.
I mean, neither am
You
I.
know,
Yeah, I've never
you
been
know.
treated to a date.
Yeah, you know.
Not that I'm
Yeah.
a
And-
stud or anything.
But then you think about, okay, we're getting older.
Yep.
And the whole premise is, do we get old alone? And that's my thing. I'm like, holy shit, am I going to be in a
Yeah.
fucking, you know,
Or
nobody's
even,
taking care of me.
Well, yeah,
You know
yeah,
what
I know.
mean? You know?
Well, you got your kids,
I do have my kids.
which is
yeah.
good, and it, you know, if they're good kids,
I hope
they'll take care of you.
I don't want to rely on them though. I wouldn't want to
Yeah, I hear
burden
you.
them that way, you
I hear
know.
you.
But I do understand that, and believe me, I'll be knocking on a door if I have to. But you know,
Yeah.
but it's tough nowadays, and it's tough dating. You got the whole online bullshit. You got everybody out there who has issues. You got the economy, inflation. Everybody seems to be upset nowadays.
Yeah.
They're pissed. Nobody's sort of, I don't know. It doesn't seem like everybody's just genuinely happy like they used to be in the 80s, in my opinion. Maybe things
Yeah.
changed, or 80s, 90s.
Well, that's when you like work to live, and now you work to stay alive.
Good point, bro.
I think that's kind of like the whole thing.
That could be a good, yeah.
You know,
I
like
think
you
may
used
have
to be able to
nailed it,
enjoy,
man.
you know, and have a little extra. Now everybody's like, oh, fuck, we're behind. We're always behind. Fuck it. Let's go. Let's go anyways. You know?
That's so
I mean,
true.
it's probably
man.
a major wedge once all that, you know, debt
Yeah.
catches up. With
Yeah.
with
Everybody's
a
trying to
relationship.
catch up, or everybody's trying to, and then you can't even. I mean, the houses. I can remember my parents bought their first house. I think it was $60,000.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can't get that anywhere.
No.
Maybe West
Houses
Virginia,
nowadays,
Gary,
600,
Indiana.
700.
You get a mobile home
Yeah,
for
yeah.
about 60,000 on a nice plot of land, and by nice I mean at least an acre,
Yeah.
I got friends who were just
Yeah,
like,
you know.
maybe half.
I got friends who make good money, but they're up to the Hilton bills, and they're like, you know, they're just
And they have to
scared
continue.
shitless. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just, you know, and then you try to throw dating in the mix, and it's hard because, you know, when you're single now and you're single, you know, you get invited sometimes to functions with couples, and I hate going to those kind of things.
Oof.
Like a single guy going to
Yeah.
a couple, I'm like, no, I don't want to.
Especially when you haven't, like, you know, been dating for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you hear the guys complaining about how their women are, like, you know, wonderful.
Yeah, exactly. exactly.
Fuck you, buddy.
You're like, fuck you.
Yeah, I hate it when she wants to have sex all the time. And it's like, yeah, ooh,
Oh, I feel for you.
man.
No, that's so true. That is absolutely dead on.
It really grinds my gears.
Same thing with Facebook and
Yeah,
all
the
that.
guy.
What?
Was that Peter?
Yeah.
What's that?
Nothing.
Oh, we're in a group, but that's so funny, dude. I mean, and then the same thing, you know, when you think about online and Facebook and all that, because I don't do a lot of that. And I know you don't do a lot of it, although we got to do more with the show. But it's so interesting. You see all these couples, they put out these, hey, I love you kind of tweets and
Yeah.
all this, hey, we just met and all this. And
Why
I'm
does
like,
everybody else need to know that? Right?
It's
What-
so,
You know, I know this might insult a bunch of people. It's like attacking selfies and tattoos. You know, you're going to lose all your audience. But
Both.
seriously, nobody gives a shit about your love. Really, you should. And that's all. As a matter of fact, you're cheapening your love by putting it out there. Look how happy we are. You know, you're not happy.
exactly.
want
But
everybody to
everybody on a Facebook or whatnot, what they're going to do, they're going to put the best 2 seconds of their lives
There you go.
on
That's
on that frame, and that's it.
Shining mountaintop moment.
Right.
Yep.
When the rest of us are probably in a dark room, fucking waiting to, you know,
Yeah.
just possibly blow our
End it.
brains.
Yeah, yeah. I thought you were getting there. No, I'm with you.
We
You
gotta
got company here.
we gotta cut that
He's
one.
too young to.
We gotta cut that.
No,
one.
but okay.
Well,
When the
I mean,
rest
we've
of
all-
us,
I've thought of
when the rest
suicide.
of us are fucking sitting there, home alone, miserable as fuck, and we're like, you're looking at these things and going, "Holy shit, Jack and Diane look so great together."
Yeah,
you
look
know
at
what I
them.
mean? So
Yeah, you wonder what the truth is. Are they arguing at home right now?
you're right.
You know?
You're right.
Fuck.
So
Fucking
true.
kid, pick up. I'm not picking him up.
And then there's the people that do the van life stuff on the social media, and they travel all over, and they're going to the most gorgeous places, but they're forced to live together in a thing that's smaller than half of this room,
Yeah.
and in outdoors.
Yeah, they're shitting in buckets.
They're shitting in the buckets, right?
Oh, that's
Exactly.
true, too.
How do you have a happy life like that?
I don't know.
I guess you could. Have you seen Nomadland?
No, I
It's
haven't.
about
Is
it's
it
about that kind of
is
with
it?
Frances McDormand. It's really good, but it doesn't glamorize it.
Can we do a pause, please?
Yeah, you can pause.
Can we? Because I got to pee.
Okay, we'll pause.